So yeah, we got a brand new game launched yesterday. It goes by the name Scape. It's a new free-to-play urban futuristic battle royale from Ubisoft. And I got the chance to play it. I spent a few hours with it, and I kind of want to give you guys like an overview, some of my impressions, show you a bit of gameplay. This will be a mix and mash video where we do all sorts of fun stuff. But let's talk about Hyperscape. What is Hyperscape? It's a battle royale. You got 100 players dropping in. You search for loot, fight the other players, and try to be the last one standing. Pretty standard battle royale stuff so far. So what's different? Well, first off, it's set in this massive city that mixes a lot of close quarters and open battles. There's a lot of verticality with this game, although admittedly not every single building is explorable. It seems like a fair amount of them have some space to go into. And also, instead of this standard circle that gets smaller with time, they actually divide the game into these sectors that decay. So once a point has been reached, certain sectors will start to disappear. They basically like disintegrate. You see them kind of digitizing in the environment. And once the time is reached for that area to close, all of the buildings just disappear and everyone falls to the ground. And then you would take damage if you stay in there for too very long. And then also another interesting, unique thing here is the game mode. So yeah, you can try to just be the last person or team standing, but alternatively, the currently available mode is called Crown, and it's got this alternative win condition where once they get to the final sector, there's a crown that appears, and if someone can hold on to it for something like 30 seconds or so, then it's another way to win besides being the last person standing. In theory, kind of a cool idea. In practice, it's already being cheesed to hell.
What does the crown do?
I think that's the win condition.
Yeah, they win, right?
Yeah, but there's 5 squads, so...
You're going out the zone with a crown?
Looks like it.
Does he just win? Is this a cheese method?
This is pretty fucking shitty, dude. Can you hit him? I'm not hitting anything.
I mean, not really.
This will be kind of funny if he wins.
I mean, it looks like it, right?
Yeah, sure does. Let's see. Wow, that's garbage. That's total shit. I'll admit it was really funny when this first happened, but you know it's going to continue to be a problem unless they fix it. But apparently they know that this is an issue, and it is something that they're working on. But besides the crown mode, there are additional modes coming to the game as well once it eventually makes its way into open beta, which is actually just a couple of weeks from now. And then also I should mention that as of now, only squads of 3 are available to play, but eventually there is going to be solo. I'm not sure about duos, though. That's like a brief synopsis of the game. I think one of the really neat things that I've enjoyed about this is it feels like an arena shooter battle royale. So between things like the crazy amount of movement in this game, it's absolutely nuts how you can get around the map, the types of weapons that they have with things like plasma launchers, and then also the kind of somewhat lengthy time to kill compared to a lot of other battle royales. All of those things combined, it feels like I'm playing like almost like it's a Quake version of a battle royale game. It's pretty cool. The biggest thing that really stands out is the game's movement. It's just crazy how you can get around this map. Again, it's this massive city. There's like a ton of skyscraper-like buildings, things that are like 10, 20, 30 stories into the air. Some of them you can weave in and out of, but you've got all sorts of different abilities like a double jump, wall climb. That's like base. Everyone can double jump. If you're falling, you get that second jump that you can still do. It's not just double jump off of the ground, and everyone can kind of propel themselves off of a wall using that double jump. And then there's also a mantling system or wall climbing system where any ledge that you're even relatively close to, you'll be able to grab on and pull yourself up. It's very fluid. And there's also things like crouch slide. There are launch pads all over the map. And then to top all of it off, there's no fall damage. So you've got all this crazy movement, all of this launching, double jumping, leaping off of buildings, using launch pads, crouch sliding to get insane speeds of momentum. And then if you fall, it's no big deal. No fall damage in the game. So it's super fluid movement. I really like it. But then you combine that with the skills and it gets even crazier because you've got abilities like a blink, a leap type ability, and this bouncy ball that just propel the movement to insane degrees. Now, some of them seem a little bit better than others. Like for example, the leap ability is really really awesome because not only does it launch you incredibly high into the air, but there's also an impact zone that does area of effect knockback, and I think it might do a little bit of damage as well. I'm pretty sure I've killed people with it, but that could be wrong. Who knows? There might have been stray bullets or something. Just tons of movement. It's crazy. You watch this game for like 5 minutes and you can tell it's very, very fluid. It's very fast paced, but there's other abilities that aren't movement based as well. There's things like this wall that you can summon that's a pretty massive wall that can be attacked and destroyed. There's an invisibility. There's this shield that I believe makes you invulnerable while you have it until it breaks. Pretty crazy. And then there's also a area of effect heal ability that you can just drop on the ground to heal you and your teammates if you're in like this kind of standoff situation. So you've got the crazy movements, you've got all of the skills, then there's the weapons. So it's got some pretty basic stuff there. There's like an auto rifle and might be an SMG as well. There's an LMG, this big kind of like turret type gun. There are grenade and plasma launchers. There's a sniper rifle. There's a few different variations of pistols in the game. And all of these things, the skills, which are called hacks, as well as the weapons, have this upgrade tier. So like in a lot of battle royales, you'll have a common weapon and an uncommon weapon and a rare weapon and an ultra rare weapon, and you just have to hope you find the right one. Well, this game streamlines that system where the first variation of a weapon that you pick up most of the time is just going to be level 1. I might find a level 1 shotgun, and then the next time I find a shotgun, I fuse it into my current shotgun and it upgrades its level 1 time. And this can happen 5 times. There's a base level and then 4 additional upgrades you can add on top of that until you get the max level weapon. And as you level up the weapon, it'll do things like increase the magazine size, damage, I think rate of fire is an option. And then for a lot of the skills, you'll get a cooldown reduction. Max level skills are crazy. I can almost constantly just run away from people between things like invisibility and one of the movement skills. You can really do a good job of evading fire if you have the proper skill combination. And with the skills and the weapons as well, at any given time, you can have 2 of each, and you just get to pick and choose which ones you want based on what you find in the environment. I think it's also worth noting that the distribution of skills and weapons in this game seems to be very dense, in that I never had trouble finding a type of weapon that I wanted. There was always enough of it scattered all over the place that at the very least I could find a base level version of a weapon, and eventually between killing people and then just going into other buildings and opening up these crates on the ground, I would find upgrades as well. So it's really actually really awesome. I never really had difficulty finding the weapon that I wanted to play with. Now, one of the kind of complaints that I've started to see early on was with the game's time to kill. I think with a few exceptions, like a max upgraded close range shotgun or a max level sniper rifle, it seems like it's fairly long. Like most fights are fairly drawn out. I think not only it has to do with the health and then the damage of the weapons, but also with all of the abilities, like the shield abilities. The bouncy ball, I believe, also gives you a shield while you're in it until it's destroyed. The healing, and then just the crazy movement making it harder to hit people. It seems like it can take a while and fights can get really drawn out. It's less about getting cheesed and one-shot headshot and more about like how you play over the course of an engagement and the proper use of abilities and positioning and all that stuff. That can go either way. People either like or hate long time to kills, and this game's time to kill seems to be on the longer side, but there have been times where I've got one shot either from a close range shotgun or a sniper rifle shot. I'm pretty sure it's happened to me on a few different occasions. So another unique thing about this game is its reviving system. So a lot of battle royales nowadays have some sort of a revival where you can bring dead teammates back. In Warzone, you've got the Gulag, and then in Apex we had the redeploy stations or whatever. They have their own unique take on that in Hyperscape. Basically, if you die, you turn into this thing called an echo, and basically you can, while you're dead, you can just run around the map, you can interact with launch pads, double jump, climb, everything, and you can act as a scout for your team, which brings up the fact that this game does have a ping system. You can ping onto any objects in the environment, as well as enemy players and stuff like that. So you could go around and scout for your team, let them know where the enemies are, act as a forward scout who's invincible and invisible. But then also there are these revive points on the corpses of other players. So if your team kills another player, or if just another player dies in your vicinity, you as the Echo go to that spot, you interact with it, and then one of your teammates can come over and revive you there. And I haven't seen, maybe I just haven't been paying enough attention, but it doesn't seem like there's a limit to this. It can just keep happening. As long as you can find other corpses and revive at that spot, you can just keep on coming back. There have been matches where we've rezzed teammates like 5, 6, 7 times. It's a pretty unique twist. You know, every single new Battle Royale that comes out is going to have to do their own spin on various systems to set themselves apart. And I think it's an interesting take on bringing players back into the game. The next thing I want to talk about is the map itself. So, you know, it's divided up into these numerous points of interest or districts. Like there's this one section, there's like some giant skyscraper sections. There's like these big old churches and these different silo facilities. And then each one of those big points of interest, those massive buildings, that'll be like a super abundant, dense area for getting skills as well as weapons. Though I gotta say, just in general, I feel the map is kind of bland. I think because it is all in a city setting, that it's just, you know, these stacks and stacks of buildings that are almost indistinguishable, with the exception of these super distinct points of interest. A lot of the map doesn't feel very interesting or unique. Like, unless I'm at one of those massive points, I can't intuitively tell you where I am on the map at any given point. But maybe that's just something that comes with time and familiarity. Like if I continue to play it a bunch, maybe eventually I will be able to tell the difference between this skyscraper and that skyscraper and where I am on the map. Like after playing a lot of Warzone, with each area being so unique and so distinct and having like its own flavor, it feels like this entire game is just like one tiny area in a lot of other battle royales. Even though it's not necessarily tiny, I believe it's like 1 kilometer squared or something like that. I guess the only point is the play space feels a bit monotonous, and not like it really has as many distinct locations. Even though it does have those points of interest that are unique, the rest of the map all feels very samey because it is just one giant city. I'm not necessarily saying that's a bad thing, but I am saying it does feel like there's a lack of diversity in the locations at the moment. Who knows what could change in the future. And then I guess the final unique system that they have in this game are these battle events. So there periodically events will pop up, this low gravity mode, or spotting, where every player will be revealed on the map to everyone else, or infinite ammo, or health kit spawns. And these events are actually rolled into this Twitch integration that the game has, where basically Twitch viewers using an extension could vote periodically on those lobby-based buffs. So it's worth noting, it's not that like big streamers are going to get specific advantages, but that their viewers can vote on what the next lobby-wide buff is going to be. Now, obviously, that could lead to some situations where, you know, depending on the strength of the streamer, and a lot of those top streamers are pretty good players, they could ask their viewers to continuously vote for the best situation for them. But they are lobby-wide buffs that apply to everyone in the match, so it doesn't give specific players advantages. Just in general, I think this is kind of crap that doesn't need to be in games. I mean, all it really does is potentially help these massive streamers. The rest of the player base, which is most of the people playing your game, it could potentially be a disadvantage. But I don't know, maybe it's not a big deal, and maybe ultimately it means that you're going to get all of the best buffs that everybody always likes getting applied all the time. Who knows? I just feel like it could potentially be like this gray area of annoyance with the community, and I don't really see the benefit of putting it into your game. I think the Twitch integration stuff is just kind of stupid. I think it's unnecessary, but obviously they see it as a potential way to get more engagement and more interest in their game, so that's why they're doing it. Not the biggest of deals. The rest of the game is what's the most important. So how do I feel about it? After a couple hours, it's definitely like a solid game. It seems I had a lot of fun with it. I didn't not enjoy the game. We might continue to see complaints and concerns over things like time to kill, balance issues. It already seems like some weapons in the game appear much stronger than others. Same thing with the abilities, like that leap ability seems pretty strong. The ball ability seems insanely strong, especially at the moment, how it can be cheesed to win the only game mode available right now, which is that crown. I don't know how they didn't test for the idea of someone grabbing the crown and then launching themselves out of the map with the ball. How did they not see that as a possibility? It blows my mind. But anyway, pretty cool. You know, this new game kind of popping up more or less out of nowhere. Evidently, this thing has been in development for 2 years. I did mention earlier that besides the the crown mode, additional modes would be coming. So the open beta that's coming up in a couple of weeks will also be adding this hack runner mode, which will be focused on hacks. Maybe there's like more hacks, or the hacks are upgraded when you pick them up. I don't know. And then there's also going to be this turbo mode, which will be a little bit faster version of the game. It's free to play. There's currently a technical test, which you can gain access to via Twitch drops if you are NA or EU based. And then the open beta is happening on July the 12th. So not even a couple of weeks. It's like 9 days from now. There's an open beta that will be taking place. Overall, I really enjoyed the game. I don't know how it's going to do though, because it's a hell of a crowded market. Like, there's already so many battle royales out there that are super high quality, between obvious things like Fortnite and PUBG, kind of the two massive OGs. And then you've got Call of Duty Warzone, you've got Apex Legends, that's another huge one. And I guess those are really the 4 big ones on the market. I feel like there's something else that I'm not thinking of right now, but those are the 4 big ones. Could this be another one that kind of sneaks its way in? I think it has the potential. I think it feels a little underdeveloped in comparison to those games. I guess one of my biggest critiques at the moment would really be how bland the map feels. Oh, and then also I think I should mention, playing with some of my friends, they personally felt like the guns didn't feel great. The time to kill and the gunplay might be 2 of the biggest complaints, in addition to just kind of the monotone map, if you will. But overall, I had a lot of fun. I definitely think it's a quality game. I think it's probably worth checking out if you want to try a new Battle Royale. And we'll have to see. We'll probably figure out in a couple of weeks or months from now if this thing has legs. And I think it's also worth mentioning that it's a Ubisoft multiplayer game. In recent years, they've done a really good job with their competitive multiplayer games of keeping them fresh, keeping them up to date, and, well, keeping them updated. Maybe that'll be the case with this as well, but you know, it's a tough market, so we'll have to see if they can actually step into the free-to-play Battle Royale genre and do enough to stand out. But they do have some unique things. It is an interesting and fairly well put together game, and if you want to try a new Battle Royale, I'd suggest checking it out. You know, since it's free to play, it's just going to be some time and bandwidth, basically, that you have to sacrifice. But give it a shot. I think it's pretty good overall. And yeah, that's that. So thanks for watching. Maybe my final complaint is the name. I keep forgetting. Hyperscape. I keep wanting to call it Hyperspace or Hyperscrape. I don't know why, but I keep forgetting Hyperscape. It's just a very forgettable name. But anyways, that's probably a me problem. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you next time.